Hello everybody, it's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading on November 5, 2025. I hope everybody's doing well and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for subscribing. This little sticker I received today with an order that I placed on eBay, and the eBay seller stuck this sticker in there and actually gave me an extra gift, which was really nice. Good things are coming. I don't know if you heard the news in Louisville, Kentucky, and that's the way I pronounce it, Louisville. Louisville, Kentucky, there was an explosion when a UPS plane was departing and the left side of the engine exploded. Evidently, it was completely fueled because it was en route to Honolulu, and it was a cargo plane. And it ignited the entire, what appeared to be the entire airport. 7 people died. 7, seven is Satan, Saturn, had to be 7, and possibly more people injured. It's a horrible, horrible explosion. But, I have to tell you guys, I've been saying this to myself. I've known that Kentucky is doomed. There's going to be very negative karma coming to Kentucky. That's why I need to get out of this state. There are a lot of evil things that go on in Kentucky. Nobody's doing anything about it. But anyway, that's not the purpose of this video. I purchased a book. I like to purchase new, targeting, gang stalking books, other people's perspectives who are targeted. So I purchased this book by a person named Gaye, G-A-Y-E, Leto, L-E-T-O. What They Have Always Known and You Don't. I have to tell you, I'm not crazy about the book. There are some gems throughout it, but for the most part, I disagree with some of what she's saying. And even though claims to be, and let me see if I can find it, the degree, she talks about healing methods, that she has a master's in nutrition, and I'm going to read a survival list that she provided here, but I disagree with a lot of what she has stated here. So I'm going to keep going back and forth. I'm going to read the survival list that she has here, some of which I've not heard of before, but I found to be interesting, and I'm just passing it along. And I look forward to your comments down below. So it's critical that you never underestimate your enemies. At the same time, do not overestimate their abilities. Yes, it is true that the angelic watchers have the capacity to monitor our thoughts. However, their minions on the ground must rely on conventional technology. This means there's a great deal you can do to outwit and frustrate the maniacal efforts. Through trial and error and careful observation, it is your responsibility to learn the limitations of their technological arsenal, intellectual abilities, capabilities, as well as their game rights and violations. Now, this is something that I've heard people say works, but each time you do it, you have to reinstall all of your contacts and information and software and stuff into your phone. So I'm not going to do this. On a regular basis, do a hard reset of your phone. This involves going into the settings option and searching for the reset prompt. A proper reset will wipe out all the information that you may have stored on the device, so be prepared. Make sure to check your messages before doing the reset. After it's completed, remove the battery. Well, I don't have a battery in my phone that I can remove. Do you? A lot of people are complaining that there's just no batteries to remove anymore. Only place the battery back into the phone when you want to check for new messages or to make a call. Since the people hacking into your phone must use a Bluetooth device with limited range, I recommend traveling a distance from your home before doing the reset process. After the reset, if the battery remains out of the phone, you will be GPS free, your messages will be protected, and you will be able to safely use your phone to receive one-time verification codes to enter email accounts. Now let me just see. The one thing about this book, it almost appears as if it's self-published. There's not a lot of information on the author, like a preface. And then there's no, I don't have a date here on the book, a copyright date. So I don't really know when this book was published. It's very bizarre. So anyway. Okay, so please note, after doing this reset, if you still have difficulty receiving email verification codes, this is because someone is using a Bluetooth device within your range to recreate the block. If you're at a library, look for someone using a MacBook, iPad, or iPhone. Sometimes you will find your hacker sitting in their car outside of the building. It may be necessary for you to use libraries that are considerable distance from your home to ensure privacy. It is also best to change locations often. Once you lose your stalker, remember to reset your phone. Disconnect the GPS system from your cars, computers, iPhones, and learn to use paper maps instead, which I always use anyway. I like my paper maps. Only use Mac computers. If you own Windows right now, consider trading it for a used MacBook. Why? There is a software feature on Mac computers called Time Machine. This feature allows you to reset the data on your computer back to the settings that existed while your computer was still hacker-free. Now, I don't know about you guys. I remember back in New Jersey, like years ago when my daughter was little, I had a computer that I could automatically reset. I had Windows. I had a compact computer at the time, and I was able to reset the time, like to go back to a date to where, you know, it was hacked free. Like if I accidentally downloaded something that made my computer freak out, you could go back to, you know, a past date. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not like that anymore. So this feature allows you to reset the data on your computer back to the settings that existed while your computer was still hack-free. Most importantly, with a Mac, you can always have the ability to walk into any Mac store to have your computer completely wiped clean. This is similar to doing the hard reset on your phone. Just be sure to save your work on a flash or hard drive that you have to carry with you at all times. Most libraries sell small flash drives for about $7. I mean, that I did not know that. With the Time Machine feature activated, if a hacker were to access corrupt files on your computer, the restoration process is relatively simple. All you have to do is maintain the computer turned off and the battery removed until you're in a safe location. Well, I don't have to worry about that with my laptop. You want to know why? Because the criminals removed my battery. First of all, they drained the battery. Then they disabled the battery case by the inability for me to insert the battery back into my laptop. So I don't have to worry about that. Just be sure to save your work on a flash drive. With the Time Machine feature activated, if the hacker were to access your corrupt files, the restoration process is relatively easy. In your hard drive, revert the Time Machine to the earlier date setting. Please do not make the mistake of trying to use your computer at home where you already know you are closely Bluetooth monitored. Do not share Wi-Fi with anyone in or near your house. If you see any extraneous split-second pop-ups on your computer screen while on the internet, know that this means your hacker has entered. Shut down immediately. If you have a Mac, Reset the time machine once you're in a safe location, meaning out of their Bluetooth range. Basic rules of vigilance require that while on the internet, you do not turn your attention away from the monitor and that you do not have more than one internet page open at a time. Well, I'm terribly guilty of that. Set up your email accounts to have two-step verification entry process. Now, she goes on to say Gmail is a good choice. Well, if you've got a YouTube channel, you actually have to have a Gmail account. But Gmail is probably not the safest bet. And I have yet to convert to another email choice, so I'm guilty of that. Place your TV sets on the curb. TiVo allows you to directly observe and electronically monitor, so determine your psychological responses to images and auditory stimuli. I don't have a TV anymore in my house, at least in my house. The collection of data retrieved is used against you. Television is the primary instrument through which disinformation and disruptive subliminal messages are transmitted. If I'm fumbling with my words, it's because the criminals have radiated the left side of my tongue, which is now 3 days in a row. This medium has been expertly contrived to inflict the most powerful brand of mass addiction and compliance, an insidious form of slavery by consent, meaning watching TV. As an alternative, I recommend borrowing DVDs from your local libraries to watch instead. This will give you considerably more control over the health standard of the films you view. The first advantage you will probably discover is that you will be able to sleep much more restfully, which is one of the first requirements for restoring physical and emotional stability. Number 8, identify your stalkers. When I say this, I'm not suggesting that you contact the police. Most of you already tried that tactic to your great chagrin. This is a battle that has to be waged using an entirely different strategic perspective. It is crucial you understand that while your enemies have been spying on you, setting you up, and robbing you blind for years, the reality is that it's actually illegal for them to be engaged in this type of aggressive behavior according to the game rules. The problem is that if you do not have the courage to out them to your angelic allies, your best defenders are without the evidence needed to advocate on your behalf in the heavenly courts. Sounds loopy, doesn't it? All I can say to you is that if you do as I'm instructing you here, it will begin to make sense. As soon as you start staring into the faces of your stalkers, you will notice that they run scared. Why? For the simple reason that once they are identified by you, they're also seen by Elohim watchers. When your predators are exposed for their criminal activities, they are immediately penalized and often permanently withdrawn from the game. Oh, that means a little Bobby Edwards. He's a little scaredy weenie boy. He's going to be removed from, maybe he'll be removed from his career at the Jackson County PVA after 2 years. Well, we shall see, because he has been exposed as a predator for their criminal activities and overcharging me property taxes when they haven't assessed other people in the community. Oh, and by the way, you know, there are other people selling their homes around here that have placed their houses on the market. One such house is selling for $750,000. It's got about 90 acres of land, and it's got about 3 times the size of a house as mine, which would lend itself to being $795,000. But guess what their property taxes are? Under $800. I kid you not. And I guarantee they're not 65 and over to have obtained the homestead rebate. I could be wrong. I don't know for sure, but their house is on the market for sale. Oh, and I've got a couple of others too. So I've been collecting houses for sale that are similar to mine or better than mine to see what their property taxes are because they're listed online. So let's go back. When your predators are exposed for their criminal activities, they are immediately penalized and often permanently withdrawn from the game. Not only will you not see most of them again, but you have also successfully made the world a safer place for other targets. I implore you to please comport with maturity during the identification process. It should be simple, fast, and without confrontation. Checking both the frontal visage and profile is usually best. And if you've got a photograph of them doing the dirty, post it online immediately. Number 9, accept no gifts. This is an artificial world of strict karmic tallies, pluses and minuses, credits and debits, favor and wrath, an occult system about which your adversaries have an intimate knowledge. They want you to be indentured to them. You then go down and they rise. You become the tail, they the head. And make no mistake about the fact that they are heartless usurers. As lambs among the wolves, we are lured into their families to serve as their sacrificial scapegoats. Their smiles, flatteries, seductive and unsolicited generosity are, sad to say, not gifts of authentic love in this context, but weapons of karmic warfare. Learn to think visually as opposed to verbally. What I have learned experientially is the fact that my allies are capable of monitoring my more subtle pre-verbal cognitive thoughts. However, for my protection, they typically respond with warning alarms if and when I succumb to converting these thoughts into full verbal mental dialogue. Evidently, our enemies do not utilize the same sensitive scanning technology as our protectors. This provides us with a huge advantage if we cooperate with those instructing us. Cognitive discipline is particularly essential when traveling. For example, if upon leaving your protected home environment, yeah, right, it's protected, all right. I've got a bunch of people on my property right now. What did the other book call the Camellia book? They call them invisible midgets. I've got a couple of invisible midgets cloaked on my property, vandalizing it right now as I speak. However, for my protection, typically respond with warning alarms when I succumb to converting these thoughts into a verbal mental dialogue. Evidently, our enemies do not utilize the same sensitive scanning technology as our protectors. This provides us with a huge advantage if we cooperate with those instructing us. So the cognitive discipline is particularly essential when we are traveling. If you master the ability to think on a pre-verbal, pictorial level, you'll be able to maneuver under the radar, so to speak. Granted, mastering the ability to think in this manner will take some time, but I guarantee it's worth the effort. It's a matter of learning to calm your mind. Assume responsibility for the condition of your own health. I've met too many targets who live on junk food and coffee, eat and stay awake during the dark hours of sleep while the sun is still shining, and then put full blame for the poor quality of their physical and emotional disorders squarely on the targeting experience. It's simply not honest. Please be truthful with yourselves and change what you can change. Periodically walk around your home and cars, placing anointing olive oil on all entryways and anything else you need to protect. Do not forget your mailboxes. We know that my mailbox needs to be protected big time. You know, from double-headed dildos, skinned dead animals, poopy diapers, trash, wasps. Yeah. Oh, but besides the junk, all the junk mail too. Do not forget your mailboxes in the name of Yeshua of Nazareth and the Most High God. Use your own Christian gift immediately instant in prayer. As soon as you realize that fact you have fallen short of the sinless perfection standard, ask for forgiveness, pleading the uncovering of his grace. This will not intercept many adversarial accusations. Do not hesitate in doing this quickly. It is much harder to expunge a case once it's already in the courts. Then sin no more, lest a worse thing come upon you, which is John 5:14. So I'm just going to go to this quick little tidbit over here. Now this is page 110. She writes, you must first understand that what you are experiencing is the result of a computer program that is constantly adjusting itself to your emotional responses. If you respond with shame, fear, anxiety, anger, or humiliation, the sensations will exacerbate. If, on the other hand, you remain calm, disinterested, and succeed in placing your focus somewhere else, meaning just go about your business, the sensations will gradually dissipate until they're gone completely. For me, it took 3 days, but for most people, it would take somewhere between 4 days to 3 weeks. If during this period you receive thoughts and visions that you don't want, simply declare, I refuse to receive that. Christ, please forgive my vulnerability and cover me with your grace. Then be at peace. Your angels will handle the rest. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee. So I'm going to end here on that note. So this is a book entitled What They Have Always Known and You Don't by Gaye Leto, Leto. I don't know the date of this book. It doesn't really say when this book was published. I just purchased it. Again, I'm not crazy about the book. There are a few decent tidbits in here. She has a master's, I believe, in nutrition, and I don't agree with everything she says about what we should and should not eat. Like, she condemned the egg, for instance, that we should not be eating eggs, and I wholeheartedly disagree, and most doctors will totally disagree on that, because eggs is a brain food. But anyway, I'll leave your comments down below. I'd be interested to hear if you've read the book, if you heard of this author, and I will talk to you guys soon.